What's up, addicts? We are here today with a Hereditary review, the new horror movie everybody has been raving about, calling it the next Exorcist. Is it? We are going to discuss that here. I am here, Graham. Hello. And I am with
Colt. I am here as well.
Colt off screen, just to my left. So, we are going to discuss the film as much as we can without giving any spoilers away at first. And just kind of say whether we like it, what we did and didn't like. Obviously, avoiding as many spoilers as we can because it's hard to explain without doing that.
Yeah.
So we'll do the best we can, and hopefully you guys get a sense of whether this film is for you or not. And then after that, we will warn you we're going to go into some spoiler talk because, I mean, with a movie like this, there's things that have to be discussed.
Yeah, there's just some things that just need to be talked about and that need to be put out there before you go see this movie.
Yeah.
But only watch the spoiler section after you go see the movie.
For sure, for sure. So diving into it, the story, all I knew actually of the story when I went into it was a family suffers the loss of their grandmother, and that's all I knew. I hadn't even seen a trailer. I'd been told that's what the plot was.
I had seen the trailer and it seemed like exactly what you said, but it seemed like you know what, I'm going to leave it for the spoiler section.
Good idea. Yeah, so basically the story, as much as we can get into it, is this family of four, mom, dad, their kids, Charlie and Peter, both in high school. They're struggling with the loss of their grandma, who's died recently, and you gather from the film not much of a lovable woman, not the greatest grandma in the world.
But it seemed like she cared more for the two children than she did anyone else. For
sure. And it's mentioned early on in the film that she wishes Charlie, who was a girl, young, probably freshman, sophomore in high school, she wishes that she was a boy, which gets touched on much later in the film. But that was intriguing. But so they struggle with the grandma's death. The mom has to handle, her feelings about it because she's taking it the hardest. She goes to therapy sessions, and she's just trying to figure out how she feels about this.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but along the way, the horror comes in through really like psychological terror that the mom inflicts on herself and her kids as well, which is hard to watch. I think the film did a really good job of developing the characters.
I would agree with that. The way they developed the mother and father relationship and the mother and the kids, especially later on in the movie when you figure out some things that you didn't know had happened. Yeah. That was intense.
Yeah, very intense, very dark. That's one word that keeps popping in my head when I think about this movie is dark. This is probably the darkest, most intense movie I've seen, probably, period. For me, it was a lot to take in. It touched on some very personal issues, and it was just not fun. It's not a joyful movie in any bit, and it never lets up, ever. It doesn't really give you a break.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I will say that when you go see this movie, make sure you check, like when you're watching it, just kind of look in the corners of everything. Yeah. There's always something there.
Yeah, for the most part, there's something there, like off in the shadow. Maybe you don't see it first, and your eye catches it, and you're like, "Oh my god," and then it hits you. So keep your eyes peeled for that kind of stuff, because that's kind of fun, until you see it, then it's not fun anymore.
So, you're kind of terrified.
Yeah, you're just scared in your seat. So that's really all we can go into as far as the story. What did you think of the characters? Were they all acted well? And
I would say they were all acted well. If I really had any problem with one character, it was like the mom's friend kind of person.
A bit eccentric.
Not even really a bit eccentric, just a bit over the top too much. Because like some characters go over the top and be fine. Yeah. This seemed to kind of spill over into that.
A little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would agree. She had her moments. She was a little much, but the rest of the movie was pretty grounded character-wise. Yeah, I thought it was acted phenomenally well. The mother was acted amazing. This is probably the best performance of 2018 so far, and probably will remain. I was blown away. I think Peter, I don't know the actor's name who played Peter, but he was also phenomenal.
He did really well. I mean, for all the stuff he goes through in this movie, Ooh, how he could even hold it together while acting.
Yeah, I'm sure he had to take some time between takes, man. And obviously the girl that plays Charlie in the movie, this is her debut film, and I can't think of a better way to debut. She was fantastic. And it was really interesting to see what they did with her character. It surprised me. So I love the movie. I love the movie. Me and Cole are kind of on the same line. We have some gripes with the way it ended, which seems to be kind of a popular thing people are saying. But overall, I do agree this is one of the scariest horror movies to come out in a long time. I wouldn't necessarily put it up there with The Exorcist. You know, that's got a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a heavy hitter. It's one of the best to come around in a long time.
I would say in probably the past decade, it is the best horror movie.
For sure. Yeah. Just things in this movie I have never seen and hope to never see again, honestly. It's some tough viewing at times, for sure. And it has my highest recommendation for horror films. You know, you're not going to get anything better coming out for foreseeable future, I think. Nothing recent either that's touched it. So, Colt, would you recommend this?
I would recommend it. I would go in there kind of mentally prepared for what you're going to see.
Yes.
Don't underestimate what a movie can really make you feel.
Yeah, that's for sure. We will get into that in the spoiler section, which is coming up now.
Yeah.
This movie, you've already heard, it has our highest recommendations. Go see this film. Obviously, be prepared.
Go see it right now before you watch the spoiler section.
Please. If you watch the spoiler section... I mean, honestly, I don't even know if listening to spoilers would ruin the effect, but definitely the plot points, of course.
Yeah.
It will still grab you by the balls and not let go. So, this will be now us entering the spoiler section of the video. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and click out of this. Go watch it now. So you've been warned.
Okay.
So Colt, let's go over the end. Let's just hit it.
Okay. So I like how the ending scene kind of starts. You know, Peter's kind of all by himself. He's not really knowing what's going on, and you've just seen the father burned alive by the mom, who's now possessed or something.
Yeah, possessed by the...
And you see all of this, and you're like, okay, this is going to be a really intense ending. It's coming. You don't know what's going to happen. I just feel that at the point that Peter wakes up and starts running away from his mother, basically, after he's trying to find her, it kind of falls off for me. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, sure, the whole scene of the mom basically cutting her own head off or whatever she was doing, that was intense. Yeah. But... something that you'll hear me complain about a lot from the ending is that I don't feel that everyone needed to be naked, like this was some kind of sex cult.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a personal gripe. I mean, some people might be like, oh, well, that makes it more powerful. But to me, that kind of ruined it. And then the end part, when the mom's going into the treehouse, it's like apparently this huge part of the plot that no one really would have understood. Just kind of floats up there, just kind of like, I gotta go somewhere. I've got places to go. And that was, and at that point, I will say, everyone in my theater just started laughing.
Yeah, and that's not good.
And that's all that you heard when you walked out of the theater. It wasn't, oh, that movie was really scary. Oh, that movie was really good. It was, what was she doing? Was she flying on strings?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But I would say, like, that very ending, when you figure out that it's the sister has possessed the brother and is now king of hell or something like that.
Yeah,
being worshipped by these people.
Yeah,
that was powerful still, even though I was still kind of laughing about that mom scene.
Yeah, a bit strange for sure, especially all the tension they had built up. Mm-hmm. That's one thing in this movie. They build tension along with some of the best movies I've ever seen. It was intense. I don't know. It's hard to find other words. Yeah. It was painful in moments. It was very painful to sit there and watch. I didn't want to look sometimes, but I had to. The ending, my theater had an actually opposite effect on us. My theater was packed, and we had all groups of people. They literally ranged from high school girls to like 80-year-old, wife and husband I saw walk past, and I thought, oh dear, I hope you can handle this. But yeah, the ending, I will admit, strange. Still pretty effective. The movie did not go in the direction I thought it was going to. When they sprung the whole satanic cult scenario on us, I was shocked. I thought they were going to go down a psychological route with the mother losing her mind, because they had alluded to that in the beginning of the movie, how she has a history of mental illness in her family, people with schizophrenia and such. So I thought they were going to play on that, and that would have been much more interesting for me, because that's just, it intrigues me more so than cults and stuff like that, because I've seen so much of that.
Yeah, the thing was that, like with you, it was, my theater was packed with people that, I think my theater was probably packed with more people that were thinking, people are hyping this up so much to seem like it's the next Exorcist.
Yeah. Not quite.
And that was kind of my expectation, was, I'm like, okay, this could be the next Exorcist. I'd love to see the next Exorcist, but just, I feel like it really gave that appearance that it was going to be that. And kind of like you, I kind of wish it would have gone the psychological thing with the mom losing her mind and stuff like that, but just, I feel like if they hadn't ended the movie the way they did, like, I'm fine with the whole King of Hell thing and that kind of stuff. That's cool. But just with how they shot the scene of the mom flying up there, and then, like, everyone apparently has to be naked.
Maybe it's hot. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe some people found that really hot and were just sitting there like, oh man, yeah, I like this.
Hell, Satan, yeah.
Hell, Satan. But, that's just my personal opinion on that, is that I just think the end scene could have been done a little bit better.
Sure. And
I'm fine with the whole treehouse being, like, this, like, satanic place that no one really knew was actually satanic. And I thought that was kind of intense, because, throughout the movie, you see the little girl making, like, little toys and stuff like that, and just...
Very bizarre.
Oh, my lord. And then you see this giant statue of, like, the king thing, and...
Yes. Yeah.
Other than the two really glaring things that I didn't like that kind of made everyone laugh.
Yeah.
Other than that, I was...
Pretty solid ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, though, totally opposite effects in my theater. The only laughter that took place was throughout the first to about middle half of the film. Mm-hmm. And I think those laughs were relief for the audience, because it was so intense, no one was making a word. I actually heard somebody hyperventilating to my left in the theater, which I've never experienced before, and that made me more nervous, obviously. Just this heavy, intense breathing. But, because there's some moments in the film, kids in high school, maybe they say something awkward, like at the party when he's trying to talk to that girl. That was kind of humorous, and I think maybe the director slipped that in, maybe as a relief for the audience, to say, hey, take a breath. I don't want you to check out mentally. Because if you just berate the audience with something they can't handle, and they check out, they might not be as fazed by the rest of the film. And I think they did a phenomenal job of writing that line, for me at least. But the end, not exactly what I wanted, as we said, but it's solid enough. And obviously, the rest of the movie more than earns your attention.
Yes.
So it's definitely something you need to experience.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Even if you have some kind of reaction, like you're crying in the theater or something like that, because, well, for whatever reason, I would say go see it. Give it at least a try. If you can't make it all the way through the first time, try a second time, and just, be prepared for what you're going to see.
True. Yeah. Moving on to maybe favorite scenes. You have a favorite scene?
I do, and my favorite scene is the mom. Throughout the movie, you kind of see her doing this. And this is something I wish I would have played more into, like, the story, because I thought it would.
Yeah.
Is she's always making these little, I guess, kind of playhouse kind of things, or diagram kind of things of, like, places. And I thought that was going to play a bigger role with how they were kind of playing it up and how she was doing it. But it was kind of a way for her to deal with her grief and stuff like that. But was that when Charlie dies in the movie, and again, this is the spoiler section, so you're being spoiled right now. I hope you're not watching.
Oops.
Is when she dies, and the mom deals with it by making as she said, a neutral view of the scene of death. Yeah. That really hit me as, this is not normal. And kind of like with you, this is where I thought it was going to start turning into this psychological thriller kind of thing.
That's crazy.
Because, who really thinks I'm going to make a neutral view of this scene where my daughter died and my son's traumatized for life by this thing.
Yeah.
And just,
yeah.
I mean, just you could tell he was traumatized when it happened too. Just kind of like driving off, like, okay, not really knowing what to do.
Yeah, and that flows perfectly into one of my favorite scenes. I had two that really, really stuck out to me, that affected me a lot. And the first was Charlie's death. You know, after leaving the party and she can't breathe because she's having an allergic reaction. Opening the car window, sticking her head out, you know, and her brother swerves to avoid a dead animal on the road, and you know, gets hit in the head with a light post, and that was brutal. You saw the impact. You did not see her body or anything yet. But yeah, that scene was fantastic in the way they built up. Like, you're going to watch this, you're going to watch Peter suffer, you know, because he sat there in the road for a while, and they did a great thing with the camera where it would kind of pan up as his eyes to the rear view, and it would look away because he couldn't bear to look. So yeah, he just drives home and parks the car in the driveway for his mom to find in the morning, and just to hear her screaming.
Something I kind of wish they would have done with that scene, and this is just me personally, is that I kind of like how they don't show the body. You know what I mean? Like, they don't ever show the body, but they showed the head, and I'm kind of like, I understand, like, that was supposed to hit you really hard, but I was kind of like, I think it would have been more impactful if you didn't see what happened to her, because then you're kind of left wondering, did her head come all the way? Did her head come off? Did her head get smashed in to the point where it's still in her body, but it's just not, you know, all there? I mean, I personally think that would have been more effective, at least for me.
It's not showing it?
Yeah.
See, I kind of think the opposite, because for me, it hit me, I think this hit me harder than any gore I've seen in a movie, because it's played so realistically, and as someone who admittedly can be a bit of a gore hound, you know, going to zombie flicks and stuff like that, the person like that who is a fan of those kind of horror movies and elements, expecting that, and then what you get ends up being more than you wanted, because it's you know, this disgusting image of her rotting head with ants all over it, and it was one of those images that just seared into your brain forever. Yeah, I will never get that out of my head. Leaving a theater, that popped into my head, and I felt bad. I felt dirty. Like, it was extremely disturbing, for sure. That was something I didn't need to see, which I've never said in a movie, that, like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that. I legitimately did not want to see that.
Yeah, neither did I. I mean, I think I didn't want to see it for a different reason, but I will say it still, overall, the movie was a positive for me. I would go see it again. Yeah. I would say, if you're someone who likes to take your children to these kinds of movies, don't. Stop being an idiot and don't take your child to this kind of movie. Yeah, I saw a family walk into the theater with some younger kids and then leave. And I thought, duh. Like, I would not bring my young family members to this. You know, no kids allowed, for sure. My other scene I wanted to touch on real quick was the nightmare sequence that Peter has with his mom. That hit me the hardest out of anything in the movie, because I thought he was going to die. It was terrifying. You know, the whole build up to it of, you know, Peter laying in bed, and before they had talked about the mother having sleptwalked and walked into her kid's room, poured paint thinner on them, and lit a match, only for her to wake up and say, "My God, what am I doing?" You know, put it out. But the kids have always been afraid of her for that. And so when you get to the scene, Peter's laying in bed, and the mom comes in, you know, telling him all these horrible things, like, "I never wanted you. I tried to have you aborted. It didn't work." Like, it was awful. But then the really clever shots they did of just back and forth, panning back and forth, and all of a sudden, you know, Peter's crying, his mom is screaming, it's hysteric, and then you turn back, Peter is soaked in something, you turn back, his mom is soaked in something, and then just flames crawl up her body. And that hit me so hard. My body went numb with fear, because it was so trippy. It was like I was having a panic attack. It was intense. When I saw that scene, when you first kind of get explained about the night walking thing, she really puts an emphasis on the fact that she put it out right away. And in my mind, I kind of sat there and I was like, no, she didn't. There's no way she put it down right away and just kind of put it out. I think she probably held it there, like, at least...
Maybe she thought about it.
You know, she thought about it. She's like, well, maybe if I... But, you know.
Because it's subconscious for her. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, again, this movie was insanely intense, very grotesque in moments. Didn't need to see all that, but I did, and I gotta live with it. And so will you if you see this. But yeah, that does not stop me from giving it my highest recommendation. This movie was fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. So that has been our Hereditary review. If you've seen it, let us know what you thought in the comments. You know, we'd love to hear from you guys. So this has been Graham and Colt for you addicts out there. We'll see you later.